Welcome to Is It Covered, where we break down real stories and answer the big question, is it covered? Hosted by father and son duo Bruce and Brian Chapman of the J.D. Chapman Insurance Agency. This podcast will help you navigate the world of insurance with stories, tips, and answers that really matter. From personal to commercial coverage, we've got you covered. Now, let's get started.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Is It Covered, part of our mini-series of nuclear verdicts. I'm Brian Chapman, here with my co-host, Bruce. How are you today, Bruce?
Very good, thanks.
Awesome. As always, before we get started, every claim scenario is different. Please consult your insurance company or your agent if you do have a claim. This podcast is really meant for us to give, advice, kind of what we see on the insurance side of things. But again, always check with your provider or your agent. All right, so we're going to get into this one, and it's a movie set accident where a cameraman was disabled. We were just having a conversation before this episode about the incident that happened with the movie set Rust and Alec Baldwin, which, again, could be a good one to get into. But Bruce, do you want to give us a little bit of information on, what happened and kind of what the verdict was on this one?
Yeah, for sure. So this involved a cameraman that was he was at a ski mountain in Los Alamos, and he was on a mobile unit filming, and the mobile unit's essentially an ATV. So he proceeded up the mountain. The front end of the camera unit lost traction, and he started to slide, and eventually standing on its rear wheels before tipping backwards and knocking the claimant, Mr. Razo, unconscious and trapping him under the weight. Razo suffered multiple fractures of his neck, pelvis, and spine. Actually, there's a whole big laundry list of what his injuries were. It's really bad. It's terrible. So Razo's safety expert at trial testified that the movie operator failed in its duty to provide a safe route to the work site. The expert noted that prior to the accident, Razo began to drive the unit up the slope following the escort vehicle, but when the escort vehicle came to a fork in the road, no one was directing traffic, and instead of taking him up the designated route to the top, he led him up a straight, steeper route. A lot of it was because they were in a hurry. According to the expert, the defendants failed to disengage, to designate a safe route and failed to follow Razo to properly scout the route. So the crew directed him to a more dangerous route. So he tips over, he's injured, he's airlifted to a hospital and admitted, and diagnosed with a fracture, cervical vertebrae, fracture to his lumbar vertebrae, crush injury to his pelvis, neurological, bladder, bowel, traumatic brain injury, lacerations to his spleen, and on and on.
Oh, my goodness.
And he remained hospitalized for 2 months. And during that time, he underwent multiple surgeries on his spine and pelvis. If anyone deserves a big award, it's this guy.
Sure.
Yep. Razo's psychiatrist testified that he suffered permanent disabling injuries from the accident. I can understand why that would happen.
Absolutely.
Razo requires lifelong treatment that consists of future surgeries, extensive therapy, and as he ages, daily nursing care. Yeah.
That's sad.
Very, very sad.
You think about these movie sets and you don't really realize what goes into the background of shooting everything like this and how dangerous that it really can be.
It definitely, that getting the right shot, also building the sets and everything can be pretty dangerous as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In our area, we do a fair amount of filming, but that's a different area of insurance for us. Actually, further, Razo's wife testified that due to her husband's injuries and impaired physical condition, she's become his caretaker as much as his spouse. So, there's some probably punitive damages there as well. The defense, they didn't dispute Razo's injuries or treatment. I don't know how they could. The defense expert in life care planning estimated Razo's future treatment between $2 and $3 million. Isn't it really kind of sad that you have to put a number value on people and their life expectancy and what someone's worth? And
Right.
it seems like in a lot of these, and this is really horrible, if the person had passed away, probably the verdict wouldn't have been quite so high.
Sure, exactly.
Definitely. So what was awarded? The total award was initially for $66,662,795. $66,662,795. However, they did reduce it to $60 million. But the way it broke out was there was $24.6 million in compensatory damages, $9 million in punitive damages, and $27 million in punitive damages against there were two different film crew things there.
Yep.
So this, again, it just illustrate safety. It's all about safety.
Right.
And how important safety is to make sure that you're avoiding claims.
Absolutely. And I think going through these, what you can learn too is it's these claims tend to snowball. It's not you're just paying somebody for their injuries and you wash your hands. There's ongoing care and things like that I don't think people think about. So
absolutely. And it can take years for these claims to play out.
Right.
So in the interim, this person needs all this care. You know, you got to wonder what happens to his personal assets while he's waiting for some sort of a settlement.
Right, exactly.
For sure.
Well, sad, but it is unequivocally covered.
No question about it.
By insurance. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that concludes one of our mini episodes here for Nuclear Verdicts. As always, we do encourage folks to email in any questions that they might have to brian@jdchapmaninc.com. We have started to get a little bit of flow of some questions, so we will be addressing those in some future episodes. And
some pretty interesting ones.
Yeah, some really good. People are creative or they come up with great situations. So we appreciate the involvement, and we look forward to going over those later.
Things we have to do a little research on.
Exactly. Yep.
For sure. Keeping us on our toes.
Exactly. Yep.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to the Is It Covered podcast. To learn more about how JD Chapman can assist you with all your insurance needs, please visit our website at jdchapmaninc.com or call us at 315-986-4062. JD Chapman, we've got you covered. This podcast provides general information only and does not offer or bind insurance coverage. Coverage cannot be changed or confirmed through this podcast, email, voicemail, or fax. Insurance only takes effect once confirmed by a licensed agent. For specific coverage details, please call us at 315-986-4062. All coverages are subject to the terms, conditions, and exclusions of the issued policy, which may vary by state. This podcast does not provide legal, tax, or financial advice. Please consult a professional for those needs. Links to other sites are provided for convenience. We don't control or endorse their content. Any claims scenarios discussed are hypothetical. Coverage decisions depend on the specifics of each case.